What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Dana White's Contender Series predictions for Week 7.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we're back for another Dana White's Contender Series breakdown. This week, breaking down Week 7. I do want to apologize for getting this out extremely late. It's been a rough couple days for me dealing with COVID. And also dealing with some other life things. It's been a rough couple days, to be honest, but I was able to get through all of that and do the research and get this video out. Better late than never, but typically these will be out on Mondays at the very least. So I do want to get through this and get it out to you guys. So we'll just get right into it here. Of course, leave a like, subscribe, all the good stuff. I do appreciate that a ton. So we'll start with the first fight on the card. We have Teresa Bleda going against Naira Maya. We will start with Bleda. Before we do so, let's take a look at these odds. I always forget to do that. But Bleda is the biggest favorite on the entire card, opening at minus 300, currently minus 600. Maya opening up a plus 250 dog. She is currently plus 400. And we see that Bleda she's either 19 or 20 years old. She's extremely young. She's 5'9", 5-0. No notable wins or losses for her. She has an 80% finish rate, half of those by knockout, 40%. Half of those by submission, 40%. Some notes I have on her: she's obviously very young, at 19, 20 years old. But man, I'm extremely impressed with her. She's a very, very good ground game, good wrestling. She's relentless with it, very slick grappling. She's just nonstop in terms of getting the fight down to the mat, which I love to see. Her ground game just really impresses me overall. I like it. Once she does get the fight down to the mat, she has really good ground and pound and a good submission game as well. She can submit you. She can, get you out of the ground and pound. She's very vicious with it. And she's nasty. Once she gets on top, she looks to get the fight done with. So I'm really impressed with her overall. Her striking is a little bit iffy, but she's not really looking to strike. She's looking to get down to the mat. I don't think we're going to worry about that too much. As far as Maya goes, she's 32 years old. She's 5'5", 7-0-1, 4-0-1 in her last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for her. She does have a 72% finish rate, 43% of those coming by knockout, 29% of those coming by submission, for a 72% finish rate overall. She has okay striking. Don't really love the striking defense, though. She can absolutely be taken down, which is going to be a big problem in this fight. And she's more than willing to work off her back. She's more than willing to lose minutes on her back as well. She can be backed up. She can be taken down. She can be controlled. Her grappling isn't bad. I've seen her have some success, but she does make mistakes. She is sloppy on the mat. I've seen her reverse multiple times, and I think she needs to stuff the takedowns here to have any chance in this fight. And I just think that's easier said than done. I just don't really see it. I'm honestly really impressed with Bleda, but he's a big favorite. Like I said, minus 600. Can't do much with that, but I will pick Bleda to win. I'll take Bleda to win. I'll say like a ground and pound finish. I'll say first round ground and pound finish for Teresa Bleda. I think she's very impressive. And like I said, only 19, 20 years old. I think she has some serious upside in the division. All right, next we have Ismael Bonfim going against Nariman Abbasov. We'll start with Bonfim here. He is 26 years old, 5'8", 17-3, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Notable loss: he did lose to Renato Moicano back in 2014 by submission. Solid finisher, 71% finish rate, 47% of those coming by knockout, 24% of those coming by submission. So he's been fighting professionally for a while. He started fighting professionally back in 2011. Both him and his brother, we'll be talking about his brother later, trained with Vicente Luque. His brother is the sparring partner of Vicente Luque as well. So training with a good guy, Vicente Luque there. He is very aggressive on the feet, very good striking defense. He has a lot of tools on the feet as well, mixes it up very good. And then on the mat has a very slick submission game. He will jump on the neck when guys go for takedowns and give a position at times. But he's pretty good overall. I think his striking is very good. His grappling is very good. But he can be taken down. His takedown defense as a whole, I wouldn't say is horrible, but he definitely can be taken down to the mat. And I will say his cardio is solid, and he is able to keep up a solid pace throughout the full 15 minutes. Going to his opponent, Nariman Abbasov. We have Abbasov, who is 28 years old, 5'8", with a, not sure on the reach there, but he is 28-3. He's 5-0 in his last 5 fights, and I think his first 2 professional fights were losses. So outside of his first 2 losses, he's 26-1 in his last 27 fights or so. So, I mean, he's been looking very good. And he's fighting good competition. I wouldn't say anybody too notable, but he's fighting some very good guys, especially as of late. He's a solid finisher, 61% overall, 43% by knockout, 18% by submission. Really good striking. I like his striking. He can be a little bit wild at times. He has some pop in his punches, solid power. He mixes in the kicks as well. He does a lot of walking forward and pressuring, and I think he uses that pressure as a weapon, which is something I really like to see. He will go for takedowns, and he has good wrestling. The wrestling overall is pretty impressive to me. He is able to get guys down to the mat. He will struggle at times to keep the guys down to the mat, but when he is able to get the guy down and secure the position, he's pretty good. He has very good ground and pound, very good grappling as well. I've seen him get some submissions. I've seen him get guys out of there with that ground and pound. Just overall a very well-rounded fighter in Abbasov. He does slow down a bit, I noticed, as the fight goes on. He looks a little sluggish in there in that second and third round, but he's one of those guys where he's looking tired, but he's able to 100% push through that. And he's actually somebody that, breaks people. He breaks people with that pressure, with that pace, with that toughness, and uses that pressure, pace, and toughness as a weapon. And although he is tiring a little bit, his opponent looks more tired, and his opponent looks for a way out. And he's able to get guys out of there late. So I do like that a lot. And I'm just very impressed with what I see overall from Abbasov and really both guys. And this is a close fight. This is the closest line fight on the entire card. It's a straight pick'em, -110 each way. I'm curious to see where this line opened. It actually opened up with Abbasov as a -200 favorite. The line came down, and that makes sense. But as far as a pick for me, I am going to lean on the Abbasov side. I think the striking is competitive. I don't like how wild Abbasov is, but the guy's as tough as nails. And I do like his pressure, his pace. I think he's going to walk forward. I think he's going to mix in takedowns, and I do think he gets those takedowns. He's going to have to mind his P's and Q's on top. Bonfim is very slick off his back, but I think he can mix in the takedowns here, keep it competitive on the feet, and ultimately win a decision. Maybe a late finish, but I'll say decision for Abbasov here. All right, we have the heavyweight fight, and this one should be just an absolute banger. We have Jimmy Lawson going against Carl Williams. We will start with Jimmy Lawson. So he trains at the same gym as Carl Roberson and Hamdi Abdulwahab. I think I saw Corey Anderson doing some work with him as well. Not sure in the age there. He is 6 foot with a 79-inch reach, 4-1 in his only 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Lawson here. He has a 100% finish rate. All of those wins by knockout, and I think 3 out of the 4 come in the very first round. Some notes I have on him: he is a finisher. He did lose his only fight that went the distance. We'll kind of talk more about that fight in a bit. I guess they're saying he has a Penn State wrestling background, and the dude is built like a fridge. I mean, imagine William Knight. Kind of reminds me of like a William Knight. The dude is just built like a freaking fridge. He's huge. He's very strong. He will look to get the fight down to the mat. When he gets on top, he's very active with the ground and pound, to say the least. When he gets on top, he's just relentless with the ground and pound. He's looking to get his opponent out of there. Has so much power on the feet. He swings very wild. He looks to get in and get out, especially in his last couple fights. His cardio, though, is very, very questionable. His cardio, his volume seems to fall off a cliff as the fight goes on, which I don't really like to see. And when the fight does go on, he does have some sloppy takedown attempts, and they're just easily able to be stuffed there, even against lower level guys. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a heavyweight fight. This guy has a ton of power, but I don't know. The cardio kind of concerns me, but I don't know if that's going to be a factor in this fight against Carl Williams, who he is coming in here on short notice, like very short notice. Carl Williams, he does train at American Top Team Atlanta. He is 32 years old, 6'3". He's going to be much bigger here. 6-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. 50% finish rate, half of those, or all those 50% coming by knockout. No submissions on his record. So yeah, like I said, Williams is coming in on short notice. He was finished by submission in his only loss, and he was finished as an amateur, and that was by submission as well. He did play football in college. He's very athletic and very physically strong, very long, has some solid power, very fast hands. He will go for takedowns himself, and he's very good, actually, with his wrestling. Pretty good wrestling, considering he played football, did not have that wrestling background like apparently Lawson does. But he's able to get guys down with his strength, and He's able to wear on guys as well. Very good cardio for the heavyweight division. He's able to push a wrestling heavy pace and just not get tired, which is really good. He needs to survive the first couple minutes here to win. And he's never been knocked out as a pro and amateur. So this is a very tough fight for me. Let's take a look at the odds. We have Jimmy Lawson opened up -300, currently -222. Carl Williams opened up +240, currently +182. If this was like a full camp for Carl Williams, I think I would go with him here. Just coming in on short notice against a very, very dangerous guy who's going to go from 0 to 100 real quick in Jimmy Lawson. He's going to go out there and look for that early finish. I don't know. Carl Williams, I actually like what I see. It's just the short notice nature of things kind of scares me away from him. If he can get this fight extended, if he can get this fight into that second round, I think he's very live to win, short notice or not. But I think Lawson gets him out of here. Yeah, Lawson has a ton of power. He's going to be the better wrestler early on. And I think he can either take down Carl Williams, get on top and pound him out, or on the feet just land a big shot. I do notice that there is a big difference in power. Lawson is the much, much more powerful striker, and I think that power comes into play here. I'll say Jimmy Lawson, first round knockout win, but if this fight gets extended, the cardio of Lawson does scare me. So give me Lawson. The dude's built like a fridge. I think he puts out Williams in the very first round. All right, next we have Gabriel Bonfim going against Trey Waters. We'll start with Bonfim. He is 25 years old, 6'1" with a 74-inch reach, 12-0, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for him. A 100% finish rate, 25% by knockout, 75% by submission, a 100% finish rate overall. Like we mentioned earlier, he has sparred with Vicente Luque. I believe they're pretty close, and his brother obviously trains with him as well. He's very aggressive on the feet, has very good pressure, decent power on the feet as well, and he does put everything into all of his strikes. He can be very wild on the feet, is open to be countered. I have seen him hit clean a lot and hurt, but his recoverability is pretty good. He will close distance with wild exchanges to shoot for the takedown, has some solid wrestling. He is able to get guys down to the mat very well, and very, very slick grappling. Good cardio, good takedown defense himself. When he does get on top, he's very dangerous, and he's able to get into dominant positions very quickly, able to take the back, able to transition into the mount. His ground game is very, very good. As far as Trey Waters, he is 27 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach, 6-0, obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Waters here. He has a 83% finish rate, 33% by knockout, 50% by submission. Some notes I have on him is he is huge for the division at 6'4" at welterweight. The guy's big. Very long, very rangy, he uses his length very well. He walks forward with his hands down, doesn't look great when he's getting walked down himself, and I think that could be a problem in this matchup. And he does rely on a ton of head movement defensively. So he kind of like the Dusko Todorovic striking defense. The hands completely down, relying on the head movement, and he is open to be hit. He definitely is open to be hit, open to be countered. The striking defense, it's just pretty non-existent to me. Takedown defense does look good. I have seen him taken down, though, and he can be pressed against the cage, held against the cage for long periods of time. Looks to slow down as the fight goes on. His mouth is open, his hands are down, and as the fight goes on, his hands get lower and lower, honestly, and he's starting to look a little bit tired in there. But he's not completely like gassing out. I mean, he does look tired, though. He wasn't looking great in his last fight. He was actually on his way to losing the fight. I had his opponent like up 2 rounds, arguably on his way to win the fight, like a 30-27, and then he landed a big knee with like 23 seconds left to finish the fight. And yeah, this for me, it's Bonfim. I think this guy is very good. He's undefeated. He's super dangerous on the feet. I think he can hurt Waters, who has no striking defense, and on the mat, I think he can take down Waters and have a ton of success. So I like Bonfim quite a bit. Obviously, Waters is dangerous. He's very long, very rangy. He has some good tools, but I'm just way more impressed with Bonfim. Taking a look at the line here, kind of as expected. Bonfim is a big favorite. Opened up -185, currently -350. Trey Waters opened up +160, currently +285. I'll say Bonfim gets him out of here. I'll say he does eventually get him out there. Maybe a club and sub I think is on the table as well, but I think this fight eventually hits the mat with Bonfim on top, and I think he does finish this fight. I'll say in the second round. So give me Bonfim to win. Bonfim to win by second round. I'll say submission. Very impressed with this guy. All right, next we have the main event. We have Vitor Petrino going against Rodolfo Bellato. We have Petrino, who is 25 years old, 6'2", 6-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Some notable wins. He did beat Gadzin Zimmerad Antagulov, who was in the UFC, by second round knockout. Antagulov, we'll talk more about that fight, but he's a very good wrestler, very good grappler for about 5 minutes, but still. And then he did beat Petrino. He beat Bellato. He beat Bellato, his opponent. These guys have actually fought before. And Petrino did knock out Bellato in, I think, 25 seconds. Yeah, he knocked him out in 25 seconds. Went back and watched that fight. Obviously, you can't take too much away from that fight, but Petrino did catch him there. He does have an 83% finish rate, 83% by knockout. Some notes I have on Petrino. So, yeah, like I said, this is actually a rematch from 2019. And Petrino was making his debut in MMA, so he was 0-0, and Bellato was 5-0. And then, so Bellato kind of rushed in, and Petrino just caught him. Outside of the Antagulov and the Bellato fights, Petrino's level of competition is fairly questionable. Honestly, it's pretty horrible. And I was impressed with Petrino in his fight with Antagulov, and it was kind of a big mess to go and try to figure out how to watch that fight, but I had to download an app and was able to figure it out. But in that fight, I was very impressed with his takedown defense, and I think that takedown defense is going to come into play in this fight. He was able to stuff the majority of takedowns against Antagulov, and like I said, Antagulov is a guy that he's good. He's very good, but he's very good for 5 minutes, and he was able to have a lot of success there. He dropped Antagulov in that very first round. He has a ton of power. It does look like he slows down a bit as the fight goes on, but his power does carry. He was looking very tired in the Antagulov fight in the second round, which, to be fair, that fight was fought at a very hectic pace, a lot of wrestling, a lot of things going on, but he ultimately landed a big shot to win and knocked out Antagulov. Not a big fan of their striking defense. His hands are low, especially when the fight gets extended. And he needs to be aware of the ground game of Bellato and not follow him to the mat. But yeah, overall, this guy is big. He's physically strong, and he's very powerful. Bellato, he is training out of Team Nogueira. He is not sure in the age yet, but he's 6'3", 8-1, 4-1 his last 5 fights. Notable loss, he did lose to Petrino by knockout. 100% finish rate for Bellato, 50% by knockout, 50% by submission. For a 100% finish rate. Some notes I have on him: he does like to walk forward, wants to close distance to get on the inside. He can be low volume at times. He likes to brawl on the inside, and he's definitely open to be countered. Pretty sloppy striking defense. He has a brown belt in BJJ, and I think that brown belt is going to need to come into play here if he wants to win this fight. Pretty impressive when he gets the fight down to the mat. Has a very nasty ground and pound, very nasty submission game as well. He can be taken down, but he reverses instantly. He's very dangerous. Doesn't really go for many takedowns, and that's going to be a serious problem in this matchup. He relies actually on his opponents getting him down to the mat. So when he's winning fights, typically by submission or ground and pound, it's not because he's going out there and getting the fight down to the mat a lot of times. It's because his opponents are actually taking him down, and he's reversing, he's getting on top and finishing the fight, or maybe he slips, or he gets. I saw him get dropped before, and his opponents fall him down to the mat, and that's when he kind of takes over and reverses instantly. Very good ground game, but he's not really going out there and wrestling. So I do kind of question, how good is his wrestling, and even if his wrestling is good, which I'm not sure, I haven't seen a ton of it, is he going to be able to take down Petrino when Antagulov really struggled to do so? So, yeah, whether he's flopping to his back, getting taken down, or getting knocked down, he eventually does find a way to get it down to the mat. So if you're Petrino, you need to be just extremely aware of that. I mean, that's literally Bellato's path to victory, is this fight hitting the mat. I think Petrino can stuff the takedowns if they come. It's just Bellato is going to try to find a way, whether it's him pulling guard, flopping to his back, getting knocked down, like that could be on the table here. Petrino needs to be aware enough to know that he should not go to the ground with Bellato. And if he does that, he should look like a huge favorite. We'll take a look at the line, and wow. Petrino opened up minus 160. He is currently minus 133. Bellato opened up plus 140. He is currently plus 113. Looks like Bellato is a very popular dog. And to be honest, I don't know. I mean, Petrino, I think he has a clear path to victory here, and that's just keeping it upright and potentially knocking this guy out. So I'm going to say Petrino knocks out Bellato. I'll say he does it in the first or second round. But yeah, I mean, if this fight hits the mat, Bellato is going to have a good opportunity to win. It's just he doesn't really have the wrestling to get it there. So give me Petrino to win. He knocked out Bellato in the first fight. I don't think it's going to be as quick, but I do think it comes, and I think Petrino knocks out Bellato in the very first round. All right, guys, we did it. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the late release, but wanted to get it out there. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. UFC 279 coming out this week. Content will be out soon. I'm going to be getting out my breakdown on Wednesday. And then, yeah, live streams Friday and Saturday. Lots of stuff coming, so make sure you are subscribed so don't miss out on it. Best of luck. Contender Series, Week 7 should be a fun card, and we'll talk to you guys very soon. See ya.